Our reporters are out and about across the capital seeing how the strikes are affecting Londoners. Well, Harry is at Clapham Junction, which is one of the busiest stations in the UK. So Harry joins us now. How busy is it looking today, Harry?
Hello, Jumoke. I'm standing on platform 4, waiting for a train to Waterloo. But on platform 1, which I'm opposite, they are waiting for a London Overground service, and it's very, very busy over there.
And has it been incredibly busy throughout the time that you've been?
It has. I took the Overground here from Gospel Oak, and it was very, very busy on board the train. It was standing room only, and when you got off, there was absolutely floods of people, as you can imagine. Loads and loads of them trying to get down these steps, which litter the station. On an ordinary day, there'd be up to 2,000 trains passing through Clapham Junction, but there's been a fraction of that today, and actually, usually, pre-pandemic, this station used to see 26 million interchanges. That's passengers changing trains here. But obviously the pandemic has affected that. And the lack of availability of services today has meant that that's gone down even further. Of course, staff have no idea when the last train is. I've been speaking to them here. They don't know when the last one departs. I asked them. They said, we haven't been told. They said between 6 and 7, potentially. And I've seen a lot of people running for trains because we are approaching that final hour. I'm actually going to board a South West train whilst we're on air and give you a flavour of how busy that is. How about that? There's quite a few people coming off.
I was going to say that there's always Atmos in your reports, Harry, so I'm really excited about this moment. I heard you earlier on with Eddie, so as you struggle onto the train, I was curious to know whether or not people were being very British and queuing politely, or people were just going at it just to want to get on the train.
Oh, it's elbows at the ready here, let me tell you. I have managed to get a seat, though. I've got a seat.
Wow.
And I think these South Western trains are air-conditioned, so I think I'm going to be travelling in, certainly in a very cool way. It's not as busy on here as it was on the London Overground, I'll say that, but right. I imagine that's probably because people have been heeding this advice that Transport for London and many of the train operators gave, which is do not travel unless you absolutely have to. And of course they've said to try and complete journeys by 6. For some people that simply isn't possible. If you're a key worker and you don't have the ability to finish your shift before then, you're potentially going to be relying on buses, the Docklands Light Railway and trams, which are unaffected, or of course the Elizabeth line, which we've just heard about in the travel report, which is suffering its own issues. And of course London Overground services, I'm just watching the train pull in now, London Overground services reduced as well, so it's tricky times, and I think this evening rush hour has got an even more frenetic feel to it tonight.
And just before I let you go, are you seated next to anyone you could just turn around to and say, hello, sir, madam, how was your day?
We're live on BBC Radio London. Just wanted to find out how your journey's been going today. There's 3 no's from this part of the carriage. Let me try somebody else. This man's reading a book. Hello, we're live on BBC Radio London. How's your journey been today so far?
Hasn't been too bad, actually. I had to walk a bit further than usual, but this train has been one every 15 minutes, you know. So yeah, it's been the tube that's been the problem, but you know, I'm getting a bit of exercise, so not too bad.
Where are you hoping to get to?
To Wanstead. So yeah, so I've got to get off of Waterloo, walk to Tower Gateway, get a DLR to Stratford, and get a bus from Stratford home. Whereas usually I get the Central line just into town. So yeah, a bit convoluted, but the weather's nice, you know. If it was a different time of year, I probably would have stayed at home.
How much longer has that added on to your journey?
About an hour and a half.
How do you feel about the strike that's happening?
Personally, I think, you know, if you're not getting paid enough, you know, get a different job. You know, you can't hold the country to ransom. But I don't know the full ins and outs.
OK, are you feeling optimistic that you'll get to your destination tonight?
I think so. At what time, I don't know. But, you know, it is quite warm out, so I could stop off and get something to eat on the way, you know. But, yeah, I should get home, but it'll be a couple of hours later than usual.
Thank you.
Patrick.
Patrick, really appreciate that. Thank you. Have a safe onward.
Well
Cheers,
done.
take care.
Well
Okay,
done,
there's
Harry.
Patrick on his way. 3 no's, but the 4th time lucky, as they say.
And he was absolutely brilliant. Listen, you safe travels. I'll let you find more to
Thanks,
do.
Jumoke.
All right, you take care. That was absolutely brilliant. Poor Harry, you throw him in the deep end, he loves it. He just goes with it. He's like just a bit like Helen. They're just superb reporters. And thanks to the man who did answer those questions.
Harry Lowe is out and about for us. Harry, where have you made your way to after shaking your chains at Kentish Town?
I walked to Gospel Oak Overground Station, waited a little while for a delayed train, and have arrived at Stratford Station.
All right, so that's the Overground. That's the North London line, I think we used to call it in the old days. And that goes down through Camden and Hackney and all of that. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the very old line before the international one, Stratford International came in and all of that. How just tell me what Stratford looks like, because it's another one of these, like Whitechapel, that's been completely revolutionised by the big one at the back, which is at the back of Westfield, and also now the Elizabeth line. How busy is that looking there?
Yeah, it's actually fairly busy. It's a biggie, isn't it? Because you've got DLR, Elizabeth line, Overground, Underground, and National Rail services here. But I have to say, not all of them are running. There's nothing on the Jubilee line. I'm standing in front of the departures board, which has got a melee of parts suspended, severe delays and no service announcements, and people are coming up every couple of minutes inspecting and chuntering away to themselves. You can only go 3 steps westbound from here to Liverpool Street, and then if you want to go eastbound, you're waiting 10 minutes for a train if you're lucky. But it's actually quite busy, and it's busy at the bus stop as well. Transport for London have laid on some extra staff in high visibility yellow-greeny vests who are directing people onto buses to try and help them complete their journeys.
Right, so I talked to Helen Hoddenott there about where I saw the queues, right? Elizabeth line, bus stops. But one imagines those cab ranks might have been quite busy. There's a nice one, it depends where you are, in Westfield. There's a nice one right in front of the station there. Is that busy? Is that doing good business?
Yeah, so that's the one I actually walked over to pretty much as soon as I came out. And unusually, I managed to stop and talk to one of them. And there's actually 2 on the rank at the moment without anybody.
I hope you didn't tell them you're doing the show with Eddie Nestor. They're not very pleasant about me doing this time of day. I hope we avoided all of that.
Hopefully they're not listening now. But no, I didn't mention that I was with you, Eddie. I just said I was merely from the BBC. And I thought I'd ask them what they thought about this situation, because you would think conventional wisdom would suggest, oh, it's going to be a great day for them. They'll be able to earn loads of money. But that's not the full story, as Lee Embry told me a little while ago.
It's not too bad. It's basically, early hours in the morning it was okay, then the traffic builds up, then come 9 o'clock, most people are at work. Then it'll die down, and come 3, 4 o'clock, I would imagine it'll build up again. So I'm going home in about an hour or 2 because I don't want to sit in traffic again. It's been a nightmare in the traffic, to be honest with you. And the fares are quite expensive, which people do expect and do understand. But it's it's a difficult one. I don't like working the strikes, to be brutally honest with you, especially in the heat as well. So yeah, that's my take on it all. To be honest.
Do you have solidarity with the tube strike drivers?
Yeah, I do, to be fair, because the cost of living's going up. Cost of diesel, food, it's just everything. And I do have sympathy for them. I've got to be honest. I do, because we're all working class at the end of the day. So yeah, why not? Why not?
See, he's done that thing, hasn't he? Which Sadiq talked about.
Yeah.
It's that class war thing, and you mention unions, and you immediately think of a particular type of person. Is that the shift done for you now, then?
No, I'm going to be here till 5 o'clock, I think, Eddie. It's only just beginning.
Oh, right. Get into Westfield, get yourself some food then, and we might have another chat before the end of it. Harry Lowe there for us.
And Harry Lowe's been at Kentish Town all morning, and he's there now. Hi, Harry. What's it looking like now?
Morning, Vanessa.
Morning.
It's bumper to bumper here at Kentish Town Station. You can probably hear the honks behind me because the only people moving anywhere fast are those on bikes and scooters, although a police car did manage to whiz through a few minutes ago. Normally you would expect the railway station to have trains going direct to places like Sutton in Surrey and Orpington in Kent, as well as those more central places like Blackfriars and London Bridge. But there are only 2 northbound trains to Luton and 2 to London King's Cross, St Pancras. It's been a really, really miserable start for some passengers who want to use the tube station because there are no services at all. I would say that people are better prepared than in previous years, and so there haven't been as many people approaching the station, scratching their heads and trying to work out what to do. The buses, of course, are busy. They're mostly stationary. I can see 6 in my eye line at the moment. They're almost all full and they're not really going anywhere fast. There's also been some road rage this morning. A cyclist and a driver in a small Fiat almost coming to blows. That was safely averted in the end. But I would say that some of those I've spoken to, like Julia, are very, very unhappy.
It is very inconvenient. We're key workers, so we've got children, vulnerable children that we work with, and we need to be at school on time for them. So yeah, it's very inconvenient. I understand they want increase in pay, but there must be a better way to do this.
How late is it going to make you?
Over an hour and a half, which is pretty late.
Do you understand why they're doing this?
I think they want more pay. Yeah, I think they should give it to them.
Everybody wants pay, isn't it?
And they've worked through the, the pandemic, and that wasn't an easy time. So there's enough money. Just pay them.
And do you think that this is going to continue throughout the summer? And would you understand if they continue striking?
I believe it will continue until they get their equal pay. I understand where they're striking, but it is really inconvenient for people. We've just seen the roads now, and the traffic is falling down the road.
Yeah, it's still crawling, and it is, of course, the longest day of the year, and I think that will feel like it for some of those trying to get about their business via public transport today.
Thank you very much indeed. Harry Lowe there at Kentish.